Yeah, it's Monday morning, and I would like to have a little talk, some ideas about pro male sports. And the Eagles, I'm from right outside of Philadelphia, and the Eagles just won their game last night, so they're going to the Super Bowl. And there's a lot of hysteria associated with that. People were setting off fireworks. People were all in the streets of Philadelphia parading and screaming. But what I say is that this glorification of male professional sports is it's not a neutral thing. For one thing, all the money that is generated, all the money and time and attention that is generated by people devoting so much energy to watching male sports. And we all know that this happens. There is, sports widows. And I know some personally who their husband sits in his, recliner pretty much all weekend and watches sports, and he pays no attention to his wife. Now, what kind of a marriage do they have? And everybody's been at parties. Well, maybe if you haven't been, you're lucky. But, football on Thanksgiving, where the men are all watching football and the women are all in the kitchen, doing the dishes and serving dinner and cleaning up and waiting on the men while they watch football. Again, it doesn't go the other way. There is no equivalent to think about men getting behind women's achievements the way men and women get behind the pro male sports teams. And I think it's because it's the last dregs of the dying gasps of the patriarchy and this false idea of male supremacy. The only place that men are supreme is in the physical might arena. A woman cannot play football like the men can, or so it's holding up this incredible skill level that these men have that women don't have, and wanting everybody, men are just literally hysterical, screaming. I was at a party Saturday night where a basketball game was on, and all the men at the party were screaming in unison at the top of their lungs for their team's win. And the women, we couldn't even hear ourselves think. And again, have you ever been at a party with men and women where the women start loudly screaming and dominating? It's this idea that the dominance of male sports is okay, that it's normal. It's not normal. It's hysterical, and it's actually group psychosis to think that, why not be gay then? This is what I say. It's like, if you don't want to spend time with women and you don't care about what women are doing and you want to spend so much time adulating men and watching men on TV and talking about men and talking to men, well, aren't you gay then? And that's fine, but just it's ridiculous that it's not looked at, or maybe somebody else has looked at it, but I'm certainly looking at it from an overview, a rational overview that says these men are hysterical, the people that watch it, and the amount of time that is spent. Just, there's rabid fans, but there's, more casual fans that don't watch much, but they do watch, and they do go to parties where they all scream about their team winning. And again, why don't they promote women's accomplishments like that? They don't. They only promote men's accomplishments. And some men, God bless them, don't like sports at all. That's who I'm looking to hang out with. I'm looking to hang out with a very refined man. And when the games are on, he might have a suit on. He might have a cigar. He might have some cognac. He might want to talk about history, the history of the world. He could even talk about the history of sports. Might want to talk about art. He might want to talk about literature. He might want to talk about something interesting, but he's not going to be talking about sports. And this is who I want to hang out with. rather than the people that are just hysterically screaming. For one group of men to get a ball, now get this, this is how advanced it is. One group of men gets a ball down from one end of the field and then they put it in this goal. And the other group of men tries to stop them. This is what the hysteria is about. And it's that men will promote their interests as if it's like the biggest thing in the world. And women grow up. My generation, we grew up. Men are adulated. Male sports are adulated. Be quiet. Dad's watching so-and-so on TV. We see the women in the kitchen cleaning up. We see the men sitting around on Thanksgiving watching sports. We see our brothers. We see our uncles. We see our fathers. We see our neighbors. And we don't see them adulating what women do. And then there's also the money. The exorbitant salaries and money that is pulled in by these organizations, that it doesn't matter if that ball goes in that goal. The world is no better. And if that money was taken and put into things that mattered, like fixing the educational system. And this is the ridiculous thing about Philadelphia is, my daughter teaches in a Philadelphia school. And she's going to work this morning to, the same old problems. It doesn't matter that the Eagles won and are going to the Super Bowl. And she was out cheering in the streets last night because, she's a young woman. And, particularly young women, we tend to go with the flow, be a sport. We go along with what the group wants. What the group wants is often what men want. So she was out, in the streets parading with everybody, but she's going to work this morning at a Kensington school where it doesn't matter at all that the Eagles won. The kids are still facing the same poverty, the same violence in their house, outside on the streets, the same food scarcity, the same illiteracy, the same problems. And the Eagles, the Sixers, all of them should be giving back massive amounts of money to Philadelphia schools, to building roads, even just to planting trees in Philadelphia. And this is my point, that it's not neutral. Oh, let the men, you're being such a bitch, Linda. Let the men have their sports. Well, it's fun. Well, people think porn is fun. People think overspending is fun. People think gambling is fun. People think cheating on their spouses is fun. Is everything okay? And anyway, this is what it's not victimless. And I believe that sports, I believe that this is the dying gasp of the adulation. And society is changing. Divine feminine is rising. And kids are being born differently. Kids are being raised differently. Society is changing very rapidly. And this old way of revering, it's like the gladiators. We don't revere the gladiators anymore. It'll be like that. And the thing is that these men out there playing football anyway are getting brain damage. So we're cheering, paying money and putting our energy and focus on a pursuit where men are chasing a ball around and getting brain damage, and men are defending that. And it's just like a typical misogynistic, patriarchal structure that anything men say is great is so great. No, it's stupid. It's stupid.